It has been a day. I'm rolling straight into this off of a live stream for a completely different thing, because I also do a knitting and crochet podcast with a friend of mine. So we had a live stream at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then I have my stream at 3 p.m. Eastern and doing game dev stuff, which is very different from yarn stuff. So I've got yarn on the brain right now and trying to have code on the brain, and then I'm rolling pretty much straight from this into dance class, so then I gotta have dance on the brain. Except I'm supposed to be DJing our social dance tonight, and my playlist has still not been approved. So I hope my playlist is okay. If it's not okay, I might be emergency fixing it during the stream. It should be fine though. It's been a lot today. It's been it's a very go kind of a day. So this music is nice. Makes me feel like I'm not just like go, go, go. I'm sort of tempted to play my West Coast Swing playlist, but it would definitely get the VOD muted. So I probably shouldn't do that. Anyway, we're here for coding, so let's do that. Now when we left off last time, we had made a menu screen, but I changed it back to be the game. Yes? Yes, so the game is playable. And we have scrolls of fireball and potions of healing and all that good stuff. Okay, good. Control Q. Aha. Okay, so today we were gonna actually get into the coding. We had made a menu and it had buttons that didn't have text yet. Hello, Hypercyber, how are you doing? We are very slowly getting into some loading and saving. Okay, we did that and we did this, we did the buttons. So we look at main menu. Got a menu that looks like that. Hello, Amber Dragon. That seemed like an excessively loud roar, did it not? Let's see if I can fix that. Hold for one moment. No, everything's... No, it's not set the way it should be. Well, let me just turn that down. So much cleaning to do. So have fun with your cleaning. Oh, you're gonna be too loud. Why are some of these way too freaking loud? Oops, I think I cut that off. Hang on. I'll do that again. Did not mean to cut that off. Oh, that is just how long it is. Okay. Okay. All of my levels are set properly now, so we're not going to blow our ears out. what are we doing? Menu. Loading, saving. To choose between the Old Testament and the New Testament, which would you choose? The other disappears forever? I don't know. I'm not religious. I don't know that one. Flip a coin. Okay, right, yes, we have our image. We got as far as this part. Okay. We're configuring buttons. That's what we're doing. Go through a new button, then only point out the differences for the other two buttons. Set text to... and play a new game. New button. Text. Down in theme overrides. Change a few things so these buttons have more or less behave more or less like the buttons we already have. Tick the checkbox next to... goodness. Next to colors, font, outline, color. Change constants outline to 2. Set font sizes. Font size to 32. Under styles, we create or copy the same style boxes as for our other buttons. I don't need their New Testament. 5 or so versions. Jesus life and a bunch of letters. Old Testament doesn't have Jesus, but Revelation is pretty good. I have 0 opinions on the matter, I'm afraid. Which is not the interesting response. I need a style box. Okay, how do we copy from other buttons? We have an inventory menu button, right? Yeah. We have styles. Styles. Can I... I can't just copy all of these at once, can I? No, of course not. New button. Styles. Paste. Hover. Copy. Hover, paste. Pressed copy. Pressed paste. Disabled copy. paste. Focus, copy. Focus, paste. And save. We'll have a disabled and a style box flat in. Style box and normal hovered and disabled. And a style box flat in which we do not draw center but have a white border of 1 pixel on all edges. Well, that's not the same as the other buttons. Can I play just that one scene? No, that's not what I wanted. Current scene. There we go. I mean... that's not ideal. That doesn't look like anything. So, where are you going tomorrow? You're going to the moon. I don't know. Where are you going tomorrow? I went to Michigan on the weekend. That was pretty fun. Not that I did anything relevant to being in Michigan. It was a dance competition. Mars, actually, even cooler. Nice. That's gonna take a minute, isn't it? To get to Mars. I was at a dance competition, so it was a lot of dancing. So much dancing. If I wasn't dancing, I was watching people dance. But I was competing in West Coast Swing Newcomer Division, and I was so close to making finals, but I didn't quite. Missed it by 2 spots. Next time. There's another competition in Toronto in July. I'm really gunning for that newcomer point so I can move up divisions. But it's all right. I got to dance with so many people who are so much better than me. It was really cool, and I figured out that I can do both leader and follower roles. Finally. I've been doing the leader role for about a year, but just this weekend I finally nailed my footwork and I can do the follower role now. Very happy with that. Oh, Berlin's cool. At least I've heard. I haven't been, but it's on my list. I'd like to go to Berlin one day. Are you going in for anything in particular or just for fun? Just for fun. Nice. I have clearly done something not quite right. Because you look ugly. Oh, I missed it. Change fonts, font. To the same font. That's partly why you're ugly. That's better. Much better. I still don't think that's how that butt's supposed to look. Okay, a style box empty. For normal, hover, and disabled. You know what? What the heck just happened? Mega Miner, thank you so much for the bits. Good luck on your creative work. Thank you so much. Hi. How are you? Who are you? Where'd you come from? Just coming in here making my monthly bits goal on the first stream of the month. What just happened? It's gonna be one of those streams, isn't it? People just come in and confuse me. No, oh no, that's not the button I wanted to press. Ah, see, oh, there we go. I'm already confused. Doing good, just making people happy. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you. Do you do game dev stuff as well? Or like art or music or code of any kind? What's your thing? Okay, normal, hover, and disabled. Oops. And a style box flat. Style box flat, style box flat. In which we do not draw a center, but have a white border of 1 pixel. A white border of 1 pixel. Okay. I'm gonna copy that. And I guess paste it here. Normal, hover, and disabled. Is this right? Oh, your brother does stuff. I don't think I like how this is styled. I might depart slightly from what the tutorial is telling me because I think this is ugly. It was like seeing how games get developed. I don't know if this is necessarily the best example of how a game gets developed because I'm very much following a tutorial. This is the second. This is the second thing I've ever made, games-wise. But I'm getting comfortable with it, enough with it, that I'm starting to depart from the tutorial as we close in on the end. So I'm very excited for the third project. I don't know what it's going to be just yet, but it's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it. Okay, style. You're saying style box empty for normal, hover, and disabled, and a style box flat. Our buttons via keyboard commands so we configure shortcuts again. Back up under shortcut. Shortcut. Disable shortcut feedback. And then create a new shortcut. Then create a new shortcut. Shortcut slot, yes. Increase the size of that shortcut's events array. Ah, to 1. In the slot that appeared in the array, add a new input event key. Input event key. Click on the configure button and press the N key on your keyboard. No, I don't want to add an element. I want... Ah, here we go. Configure N. That should configure everything properly. Okay. But we still have the problem that I think the buttons are ugly. So. Font is good. Font size is good. No, fonts are all good. I just think these styles are kind of dumb. Definitely wanted in themes, styles. Don't want margins. Resource? No. There's border in here somewhere. Unlocks flat. Don't draw center. You have borders. And now you have a border. I don't like this border after I've clicked on it though. Pressed. Border width, border. You know what? What if your style box empty? No. I guess focus should have that. I guess it should be. Background color, border, color. Oh, you're not white. Let's make it white. All right. And then we want to copy that. To here. And we'll just roll with it, it's fine. Because that'll do something once I click on it. Eventually. Okay. So now that I've done that, can configure the other two buttons separately, but it's probably easier to duplicate and rename the new button after you've fully configured it. I'm gonna go with yes. Yes, that will be easier. Duplicate. And these actually are going to get deleted. You're going to be load button. That's gonna be all that. Has a different shortcut, right? So I need to change the shortcut. Did duplicate to create that it would hold the same shortcut resource. Oh, so make sure you click make unique both on the shortcut resource and the input event resource. Wait, what? Okay, first let's put that back how it was, N. Then you're saying make sure you click make unique. Make unique both on the shortcut resource I saw that somewhere. Make unique both on the shortcut resource and the input event resource before changing the shortcut. Okay, shortcut resource. Oh, make unique. There we go. Make unique. Now I can change that to a C. I found it. For the load button, we'll use the C key, and for the quit button, we'll do the same thing again. We'll duplicate this. Call it quit button. Give the text Q for quit. Make unique. Make unique. Q. Done. We'll later need two of the buttons in code, so we will configure new button and load button to access as unique name. Access as unique name. Access as unique name. And lastly, in the outermost label, we will create new label settings. At this point, a common theme resource would save us a lot of work, but I hadn't thought of that in the beginning, and now it would mean a lot of refactoring. Okay. A new label settings in the outermost label. That one. Label settings. We will set the name... No, we'll set the same font again. That's that one. With size 16 and the same yellow color as the other label. Copy. And paste. No, not that. Fine, it was like FF 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's red. Fine. Give me yellow? Yellow. So give it a black outline of 2 pixels. For the love of... I just want to type a color. Jeez. Set the horizontal alignment to center. I wrote, okay, then we'll go with by Artemis. Now our main menu is set up and we can move on to coding its behavior. So how does this look? Not bad. Looks like something. The code's not hooked up yet, but we can cycle through the buttons. Oh, right, that doesn't have that set up. All right. See, in a moment, the scene actually does very little on its own. Yeah, no kidding. Create a new script on main menu. And we want it to look like this. Oh my god, we're actually writing code, you guys. Okay, we're an extension of control. We will send the signal game requested with the parameter load. And we're getting references to new button and load button. The main menu won't load the game on its own, but rather request it. We do this via signal, which will have a Boolean value that tells us whether the game should attempt to load a game, or if not, create a new game. We can also get references to the two buttons we specified. So we have a ready function. So we'll set the focus to the first button. If we have a save file, or rather we check if we have a save file, and if we do not, then we disable the load button because there's nothing to load. Create a function for each of the buttons. What is with this double spacing? So if we press the new game button, we request a game, but don't load it. If we press the load button, we request the game, and do load it. And if we press the quit button, then quit the game. Okay, we're hooking up signals. All this left to do now. Okay, in the editor, select a new button and switch to the node tab. Connect the pressed signal. Using the default settings. Okay, done. Do the same with load and quit. So load button pressed. And quit button pressed. Done. And we can see from this little doodad that this is a signal. This function is connected via signal to the quit button when it gets pressed. Okay. The code in place, we can look at how to use this menu scene. Menu scene itself merely signals requests for changing the game. Reason for that is that both the new button and load button should switch the game scene. However, now that the scene, how that scene should act differs based on whether we want to start a new game or load an existing one. The change scene function in Godot only allows us to switch the scene. We can't configure behavior or send any data to the new scene. There are several ways to handle this issue. One simple way would be to have an auto load that stores such information for us. However, the method I prefer is to use a state machine. We will implement this as a new root node for everything. Then, when we switch scenes, we don't switch to a completely new root node, as change scene would do, but have the game manager root node, which we'll create shortly, free its child and instantiate the new scene in its place. The game manager can run specific code depending on how the scene change was requested, so we're going to implement that. That sounds like a lot of work. Okay. Create a new scene with a node at its root and call it Game Manager. Scene, new scene. Game Manager. And we are going to save the scene at Game Manager scene. The reason we need a scene with just one node is that this scene will be our new start scene. Okay, go into project settings. Yes, I know where that is, I think. Yes. Change it to the game manager scene. If you were to run the game now, you get a black screen. The game manager node works, it simply doesn't do anything. So back in the scene, create a new script on game manager, and it'll look like this. So it gets the game scene and the main menu scene. For purposes that I'm sure we will get to shortly. One variable for each scene we can switch to, okay. And we have a switch function. So if current child is not null, I guess make it null, then instantiate the scene that we've been passed. Put it into the game tree and return it. Right? So this function fits in the function that loads the main menu. So we will switch to the main menu scene. then that's scene.game requested. Ah, that's a signal that'll connect to on game requested, which we haven't made yet. Because that's right here. Which will switch to scene, game scene. Two issues are remaining here. The first issue is that we don't have an initial state for the system. This is remedied with a simple ready function. Great. Load main menu. Had you unmute this whole time because a friend had the temerity to call me as the stream started? The nerve of some people. Indeed. Who calls people anymore? Jeez. Whew. Weird. But we're making good progress. We're hooking up the signals. We're making the buttons do stuff. It kind of looks like an actual game menu. I'm pretty pleased with it. And I made my bits goal for the month, which is cool. Great way to start off the month of June. By meeting my bits goal on the very first stream. Okay, we start the game off by loading the main menu. The second issue is that right now the actual game is a terminal state. We have no way of getting back to the main menu. Third issue might be that we don't handle all the new game load game stuff, but that has to wait till after we actually implement saving and loading. Words are hard. For now, we have to refactor the existing game a bit to better integrate it with our game manager system. To do that, we want two things in our game scene. First is a top-level script our game manager can interact with. We originally had the game node, but since we've restructured our game scene to accommodate the GUI, the graphic user interface, we don't have a script in the root node. So now we'll give the root node a small bit of functionality, just so it can relay things to the game node. The second thing we want is a way to communicate back to the game manager, for which we'll use a signal again. That signal will be called from our escape actions. Setting those up to communicate with the game scene root node would be a bit convoluted, so we'll make use of our signal bus once more. Okay, back to a signal bus. How many knitting products are too many? If you need a separate suitcase for them, that might be too many. I was gonna say something practical, like more than you're gonna work on, but I brought one and didn't work on it, so... As long as they fit in your suitcase, it's not too many. Remembering, of course, that you're going to a yarn store on said trip, and a yarn festival, and may be coming back with acquisitions. So remember to leave space for that. Escape requested. Signals that we want to go out of the game, which will now mean going into the main menu instead of quitting the game altogether. Next, game scene requires create a new script on the interface root in game scene. Interface root, new script. Call it game root. As this is not only the root node of the interface, but of the whole game scene, we'll want to refer to the game node, so just before jumping into the script, make sure to enable access as unique name on the game node. The game node. This is the game node. Access as unique name. And then we can script. Feel like 4 or 5? Yeah, that seems reasonable. Wait, did I just... That is this one. Okay, good. I was worried I'd just copied over my signal bus script. But I did not. We're good. Everything's fine. Car's packed for the show, so no suitcase, just a backpack, purse, and project bags. Four or 5 small ones? Might fit. So what does this do? Signal bus. We're connecting the escape requested signal to on escape requested, which is this function right here, which just emits the main menu requested. I'm vaguely annoyed in this tutorial that some things use like the oh my god, Godot as a software is called brain goes splut. I had a thought. Anyway, but when you do the stuff over here in the node tab versus when you hook up signals via code, I kind of wish it would pick one and stick with it. Just so it's all done in one place, you know? Alas. When I make my own game, I can do it however I want. Nothing calls the signal from the signal bus, so I'll handle that next. As mentioned, we'll use the escape action for that. So in escape action, change the perform function to the following. That'll just emit the escape requested signal, which will take us back to the main menu. Now the signal gets called at the appropriate moment. We can now use a game manager, change the on-game requested function in game manager. So we switch to the game scene and then connect the main menu requested signal to the load main menu. To connect to the main menu. At this point, you should be able to start the game and see the main menu. From there, you can start a new game. Pressing escape should take you back to the main menu, where you can again start a new game. Not terribly useful at the moment, but okay. Seems like we're making progress. Let's see if this works. All right. Play a new game. Oh, look at that. If I just... Oh no! That way. If I just never let them get close enough. Anyway, and then we should be able to press escape, right? Or was it? Oh, yeah, it was. There we go. Control Q. Takes us back to the main menu. And then we can straight up quit. Oh my god, it's like a real game, you guys. Ah! Oh, I'm really happy with that. That is very exciting to me. Conga Line roguelike, it's the new craze. Exactly. This seems like a good moment to take a little 5-minute break before we dive into it. I think this is a good moment to take a break. So, everybody get up, stretch, get a snack, get a drink, hydrate, dehydrate, whatever you need to do. Go take care of yourself for, I don't know, 5-ish minutes. I'm gonna run an ad break while we're gone so nobody's missing anything. And then we'll get into some actual loading and saving of a game. We're so close to having a real game. I'm so excited about this. All right. Yeah. We'll be back in a few minutes. I hope you all had a nice break. I had a snack, which is good because I'm doing great today. I forgot to eat. I had coffee and a muffin. And now a Cliff Bar. At least I remembered to drink water. I'm well hydrated. Just haven't eaten real food like a grown-up. Sure, it's fine. Totally fine. Before we dive into it, briefly describe the approach we're using. One thing that helps us with saving is our map data class. This object holds the information about the map and all relevant objects in the game. So what we ultimately want to do is to be able to save and restore the map data object. From there, we will go in a hierarchical fashion. We will use an interface where every object that can be saved implements a getSaveData function. This function will return a dictionary that each object will fill with the data it needs to save. In addition to each object knows what other objects it is responsible for that might need saving. For example, an entity knows that it needs to save data from its components. It does not need to know how to save data from the components because the save system is hierarchical, so the components themselves also implement getSaveData. And the entity will just call that. What we will end up with is kind of tree inside a dictionary. The nice thing about dictionaries is that they are relatively easy to save into JSON format. Once it comes to loading, we will go in reverse. The map data will see that it needs to restore an entity, so it will instantiate one and hand it its appropriate save data via a restore function. The entity will restore itself from that data and then hand the contained save data concerning its components to those components, which will also restore themselves to the appropriate state. There will be a few edge cases we'll need to handle, but that's the theory. Great, I love a good theory. One thing I need to mention is a shortcut I'm taking. taking in regards to the format. The benefits of JSON is that it's human readable. Theoretically, you can go into the save file and inspect the save game state. You could even edit it and give yourself a lot of healing potions. And you could accidentally delete half of an entity and bring the save file into a state that cannot be easily loaded. To load a save, the game expects the data in a certain format. One way to discourage messing with the save file is to serialize to a binary format, which can also bring you benefits of faster read-write times and smaller file sizes. Saving everything as a bunch of mostly redundant strings is easy, but not very efficient. However, in both cases, you need to account for the possibility of corrupted saves. If you don't, the game might crash when you try to load a corrupted save file. This means you don't just load a game, you just try to load it, and you stop as soon as something doesn't quite fit. That would be the proper way. However, that means lots and lots of error handling and every function that is involved in restoring data. To keep this already relatively complex tutorial a bit shorter, I will omit that. Great. Or rather, I will use the aforementioned shortcut to summarize error handling into one check. To that, we'll actually save two things. One complete save data in JSON format, and a hash of that data. Then when we load the save data, we will hash the loaded data again and compare that hash with the one we'll load from the save file. If they don't match, then we know that this isn't the data that we saved, and we declare loading the save game a failure right away. Of course, this means the user can't edit the data, even if it would result in data we could properly load. Still, we take that reduced functionality as it saves us a lot of error handling. Or rather, it saves me a lot of error handling. In a proper project, I would recommend you to look into implementing such error handling. That's fine, this is a tutorial, we do not need that. Now, the way we can use map data to save everything was good forward thinking, or luck. I did mess up a bit with entities and tiles. Tiles don't know what tiles they are, and neither do entities know what entities they are. This is not optimal because their state involves data they share. Their templates, such as their textures, we really don't want to save every entity's texture in the save data, therefore we need to do a bit of refactoring. We start with the simple stuff, in our case, the tile class. Right now, the different types are handled by the dungeon generator. We're going to move that code over to the tile class itself. So at the top of the tile class, we have a constant that encodes the mapping of different keys and the corresponding tile definitions. We also add a key variable to the tile class that will hold the key corresponding to the tile. We modify set tile type to work with these new variables. Set tile type. Set tile type. Whoa, no. Call set tile type in init, so that needs to be changed. Yes. So what is the difference here? Instead of a tile definition, we have a string. Okay. This is another do as I say, not as I do moment. Love that. Because the alternative I would recommend is to use enums instead of strings. Strings are quick and easy, and for the scale of this project, they are fine. But if you want to expand from there and implement the amount of content many roguelikes have, then using strings like this is a bit error prone, and while the difference might be negligible, in a lot of cases strings do use more memory. This relates to what I discussed above about saving to JSON. If you use enums, you can reduce keys like these to a single byte of data. The downside of enums is that they require more code, which is the main reason I'm omitting them here. If you decide to use them, also be aware of your organization. If you use them, for example, entity IDs, and you tend to alphabetize the keys, then you are changing the associated numbers. Imagine you save the game and the value troll in your entity's enum is equal to 2, so that gets saved. Then you work on the code, add an orc, and which you insert before the troll in the enum. Well, you just don't do that. You add stuff to the end. If you then load the previous game, the entity only knows its value number 2, which is now orc, and the previous troll loads an orc. Yes, okay, that means that with enums, you need to be extra careful to not introduce breaking changes with loading save files of previous versions. That's easy enough. Just never add stuff earlier in the enum. Done. Easy. Speaking of saving, let's work on the interface we discussed above. There are 2 pieces of data the tile needs to save in order to be restored later. The newly introduced key, as well as is explored. The position is encoded in the tile's index in the tile's array, and is visible can easily be restored by recalculating the field of view once we load the save. So there are 2 functions: get save data and restore. We're still working in tile. So the data this thing needs to save is just the key of what tile type it is and whether it has been explored. And then restoring the data is just setting those variables. And we save this in the form of a dictionary. Relatively straightforward. This function simply assumes that it gets the correct data. That's, yes, well, in the context of a save file, don't be dicking around with your save files and everything will be fine. That's how regular games work too. Just to illustrate here is how this might look with some more proper error handling code. This code does not go in the project, don't copy it. Yep. Psh. Yeah, well, we could do error checking, but that's boring and we're not going to. So saith the tutorial. Hello, Tuna. Why can I not read things? Hi. Let me just make that text like way bigger. Hi. I'm gonna need a pronunciation guide on your name. Welcome. We're working on loading and saving games today. I'm bad with names at the best of times, and streaming is not the best of times. Yeah, okay, we're skipping that paragraph. Do I have a boyfriend? No, I have a husband. We've changed the way we set tiles, which means refactoring in 2 places that create or set tiles. In map data, GD. In map data, okay. We're into map data. Map to the data. Blah, blah, blah. We're doing great today. How are we for time? Okay, still got half an hour. I was really hoping to get this done today, but this might drag on for another stream. We've changed, okay, map data. You can first remove the const dictionary at the top, as we now have this data in the tile class. Yes. Yeah. Then change setup tiles to the following. What was the difference here? Okay. So this is saying make a new tile of the type wall, where before we were doing tile types dot wall. Now we're using the string wall, which is, the tutorial said itself, not ideal. I don't like it. I would go with enums, but I'm just gonna follow the tutorial, and I'll make enums when I do it myself. Use the string key instead of the dictionary key we used before. We also have to change the carve tile function. Carve tile, carve tile, carve tile. Oh, in dungeon generator. Dungeon generator. Carve tile. Tile type. Yes, instead of doing this, we're going with the string floor. Next, we can move our attention to entities. We have to do similar changes there. However, entities are more complex than tiles and have several components which also need to be saved. You probably know by now how much I dislike having parser errors while writing code, so we will start with implementing the save code on the components so we can call get save dicts and restore on them from the entity class later on without any red lines. Okay, but we need a, oh, that's set tile type. Okay, no, this should be fine. What are you complaining about? It should not be tile definition. There's a way I can fix that. So reload, there's project, reload current project. It reloaded on the other screen. One moment. Everybody, hang on. There. Dungeon generator. Carve tile. There we go, fixed our problem. So now we can actually ignore the consumable component. That component does not really have any changing state. So if we restore an entity to, let's say, a standard lightning scroll, then the consumable component on that will already be the correct one. So that's one component done already without doing any work. Wonderful. Next, the fighter component, which is the most straightforward of the components to save. Still needs some extra attention. In fighter component, we add the 2 functions necessary for the save system. So fighter components will save just the stuff that they have up here, I guess, yeah. Yeah, save and restore the things that are relevant to their state. Easy enough. What happens if we restore a dead enemy? Its HP will be 0, so setting it in the restore function, call the setter on HP, which in turn will call die. This is good news because we don't need to store the death texture on the parent entity separately or the change name. This does, however, introduce 2 issues. One is that the die function might run before the entity is actually spawned, which can cause problems with accessing the entity texture. The other problem is that the die function creates a log message. Now imagine you defeat every monster on a dungeon floor, then save the game. Upon loading the game again, are greeted with dozens of whatever is dead messages. For that reason, we changed the die function to allow entities to die silently. Get map data. That's the same, else that's the same. But this is just if log message. Then we do that. So we only spawn the log message if we tell the function to. This function gets called in the HP setter, so we need to adapt to the HP setter. So if HP less than or equal to 0, we don't just want it to die. If it's not already in the tree, then we want it to die silently. If the enemy is not in the tree, then we want it to die silently. That's a weird sentence without context. The important part is that we check whether or not the fighter component is in the scene tree or not. Yes, got that. Okay, enemy AI also doesn't have state except for the confused AI. On top of that, the confused AI should temporarily replace the default AI, but that one still needs to exist, so it can be restored after the confusion is over. For this reason, I've decided to handle the AI component in the saving code for the entity. However, we still need info about the AI, namely which type it is, and if it's a confused AI, how many turns are remaining. So I will only implement the getSaveData function on the AI components. So, with the base AI component, getSaveData, abstract base class, so return any concrete data. However, the hostile enemy AI will inform us about its type. So the function with a hostile enemy AI component. Looks like this. Just needs to tell us its type. And we do a similar thing in confused enemy AI. But with turns remaining as well. That's all the info we need for the AI component. We'll look at how to restore it once we get to the restore code for the entity. For now, we have one more component to take care of, the inventory. I don't know why I'm enunciating these words so weirdly. It's an inventory now. Could be inventory. The inventory needs to save two things. Capacity, which isn't strictly necessary because we won't allow the capacity to change at the moment, so that technically isn't part of its state, and stored items. The items are entities, so here we get to do a cyclic dependency. We'll get to the entity shortly, so here's the code for saving. Add to inventory component. Inventory? But I'm British. Yeah, I'm thinking about it like way too hard now. It's an inventory. It's an inventory. It's definitely not inventory though. Don't think anybody actually says that. Okay, inventory, save data is capacity and items, and for each of the items. For each of the items, then we append the save data for each of the items and return all of that. What did I do to my music? Huh, now we're still good. Okay, we went through all of that, and that's lovely. Now on to restoring the inventory. Same thing in reverse. Reach the items, load the item, and restore the item. Well, we create a new item with a null existence, which then gets filled. Get a parsing error at this point because this constructor does not match the constructor you currently have for the entity class. Nonetheless, we pass the item save data to the newly created entities restore function and then add it to our items array. Before we tackle saving and restoring entities, we have to refactor them a bit, just as we did with tiles. So in entity, entity type, what? Need all this stuff. So that the entities can know what types they are. One important thing to notice here is that we don't use preload. Fortunately, preload would cause cyclic dependency errors. So instead, we'll load those resources at runtime. They're pretty lightweight, so it won't be an issue. Apart from this dictionary, we also added a key variable so we can know what type it is. So in the title class, this changes how we set the entity type. And here's the top part of the set entity type. Key. What? Key string. Wow, that's not how you spell string. String. String with a Y now. Go. Self.key equals key. We load that entity type definition. But definition does not have a type anymore necessarily. This also, of course, affects our constructor again. Where if key is blank, or key is not blank, set at the entity type to the thing, to that type. Do entity definitions not have a type? Do entity definitions not have a type? Is that why you're upset? No, they totally do have a type. So what are you complaining about? Define type not declared in the current scope. Not declared in the current scope, my butt. Reload. Hold, please. What was I on? We're an entity, right? You're still upset. It's an entity definition, and it totally has a type. We'll figure that out after. You do need the ability to spawn an entity without a type and then set that type later, as you saw in the restore function. I'm gonna code this with an empty string, in which case we simply don't set any type. Let's clean up the rest of the code to work with these changes. Identify your type not declared. declared in the current scope. Wait. Wait. That's what this is saying. It's complaining about this type, not that type. I think. You way overcomplicated the math? There's no type up here. That's what it's complaining about. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. All what? Cheap viewers. Huh. How do I moderate this? Why do I not have mod commands on this? Hold this thought. There we go. I'm already a cheap viewer, you don't need more. Yeah, I know. Got so many of you in here already. There we go. I learned how to use moderator actions today. Anyway, what was your overcomplicated math, Amber Dragon? I'm curious. Definition to definition. Oh, wait. Because we don't have type anymore, we have key. I think I just don't need that line. I think that was it. I think we're good. I think I don't need to fix the line, I need to delete the line. We now have... There's so many messages. Are any of these important? Nothing important. You know, I was really hoping I might get a message about that playlist for dance tonight, but I'm gonna, at this point, I'm just assuming that my playlist is perfect, no notes. I'm sure it's fine. If all else fails, I can reuse an old playlist that was approved. Because half the people that'll be there tonight have never heard the playlist before, so it's fine. And the other half really liked it, so it's fine. We do need the ability to... yes, we did that. Okay. Cleaning up the rest of the code. Open dungeon generator. I can spell dungeon. What are you talking about? Remove the entity types constant. Take the weight of A, subtract the weight of B, and know how many grams I need for each section. Yeah? Is that not what you were doing before? Like 10 more steps. I mean, as long as you were getting the right answer. Then in place entities, we change the way we instantiate new entities. Here are the relevant parts. Probably any place where it's red. Ooh, punch the microphone. Oh, this is... because I changed how this is written. But the important part is... instead of entity types, we need to make it all strings, is the important part. So instead of entity types dot work, it's... wait, can I... oh my god, yes, I can go like that. I love multi-line edit. We only did that on some of them. That's dumb. Identifier entity types. Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah, dungeon, new entity position. All the things. Yeah, that's fine. It's beautiful. Reload the current project. Woo, steamy. Bet you didn't know writing code was so sexy. The official soundtrack to reloading your project. Love it. Okay, what are you actually upset about? Did I not? Oh. That's because this should be like that. I know it is string, but I've changed that now. I fixed it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I want to reload it again. I'll reload it again in a minute. It's the ready function of game. We get player, so instead of player definition, we want player. Now back to entity. Where was I just? Entity should be an entity finished as a string. It's not though. It's not though. It's fine. Ready to save some data. Great, let's save this data. Because we're coming up on time. I want to get this done. We're saving position and key. And then I messed up the music again. Don't mind me. Oh, no, of course, now it's too loud. That's better. Okay. Then for each of the components, save the component data. We've already handled that. JSON does not have a concept of vector 2i, so we'd save the coordinates individually, x and y positions, yep. Slightly more complicated restore function. Jesus. Alright, well I guess I have to reload it now. It's the reload sound. I've done it to myself. That's the worst part. What was I doing? Restore function and entity. I will have so much fun at dance. Enjoy your raps. Oonts. No, I'm not gonna rap. Never mind, never mind. I'm gonna take that all back. Rewind time. That did not happen. Okay, we extract the X and the Y, put that into a new vector thingy. We set the type as whatever the key was. There's a fighter component. Load that AI component. The confusion stuff and the inventory component. Currently, all actor entities will spawn and therefore restore with a hostile enemy AI component. That's good because that's the one we have to back up when using the confused AI. So in the case we detect that we have a stored confused AI, we create a new confused enemy AI component. Get the number of turns remaining from the save data. We add it as a child from where that component had the rest. Okay. Okay. The entities in the inventory will be handled recursively. However, there is an issue. Components get their parent entity when they are added to it. But if we restore the entities within the inventory, they are not added to the tree and the ready function associating components with their parent entities won't run. For consumables, that is problematic because when we create item actions, they will try to access the parent entity. We can get around that by setting the parent entity manually. In entity G, modify the handle consumables function. Handle consumable. If consumable component adds consumable component dot entity equals self. Right? That's all we gotta do, right? I do believe so. The last thing that needs code for saving and restoring is map data. Map data will coordinate the rest of the saving and loading. One last time we implement get save data in map data. Get save data. Oh, my poor earbud is struggling. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so for this one we have width, height, player, entities, tiles. And load each of the things in the entities and tiles arrays. Easy. And then we restore all that data. Set up pathfinding. I guess after we have all our tiles, we have to set up the pathfinding, which we do even when we build a new dungeon. Because we are effectively building a new dungeon, it's just using the data from before. This all makes sense. It makes sense in my head. I'm explaining it poorly, but it makes sense to me. As the map data class is somewhat of an entry point into our save system, we can give it the responsibility of actually saving to and loading from a file. We start with a save function. Opens a file, saves all of our data that we've just been writing functions for. We turn all of those dictionaries into a JSON string. And we also turn that string into a hash. And we store the hash at the top and then the JSON string. File doesn't exist, we'll create a new one, otherwise it'll overwrite an existing save file. So we can't have multiple save files, there is only one save file. Which is fine. And then we have a load game. Access the file, get the hash, get the string, calculate the hash based on the string we just got, make sure that the two hashes are the same, because if they're not, the file's corrupted and we can't load it. Otherwise, parse the string data into dictionaries and restore all the data. So make sure all the things render properly, which is the responsibility of our mapGD class. Do that, we add a new function to it. In mapGD. So this creates a new map data. Data.entity placed. I don't totally know what this is doing. We create new map data. We don't get it from the generator, the dungeon generator. When we try to load the game, this will restore the entities and the tiles on map data. However, the contents of the arrays are not yet in the scene tree, so we call place tiles and place entities. Okay. So now we go into game. Which will handle the top level code for new games and loading games. If you think about it, we already know how to create a brand new game. It's what we've been doing all the time so far, and it's what game node automatically does upon loading. So if we want a bit more control, then we just name the ready function to new game. The alternative is to load a game, which works similarly but has some variation. The most important differences are that we return a bool to indicate whether loading was successful. Most of the other code is pretty similar, save for another message that we don't let the map generate anew, but load from the saved state with the code we just implemented above. With that code in place, we can go further up the tree back to game root. Game root has a new game and a load game. Which we'll just call new game and load game. The possibility for error. The proper way would be to probably display a pop-up in our code. We simply return the main menu if loading a save game fails. We can now call these functions from the game manager. Proper version of on game requested. So if we're trying to load the game, otherwise get a new game. Nothing actually causes our game to save yet. We want to do that when exiting to the main menu, meaning escape action is the proper spot for that. We're going to save right before we try to exit. Now if we save the game right before we blah blah blah. There's a few issues we need to tackle. I don't wanna. First, a change to the UI. So far we created the game and everything as within the game node's ready function. The way our tree was set up meant that at that point in time not all other nodes were ready themselves. We counted this for this in HP displayed when we called await ready inside initialized. However, now initialize gets called after the HP display is already ready. So the function ends up waiting for the ready signal, which it already missed. So it never happens. We can mitigate this by extending the function as follows. Sorry, which initializes? Which things initialize? In game? Is that what we're talking about? Do you have initialize? No. HP display. You have initialize. That's what we're talking about. Snooze that ad. Don't need no ads right now. So all we're doing is this. Now we only await if the node is not inside the tree, i.e. it's not ready yet. Clause may be superfluous altogether. Maybe we could have just deleted await ready. Okay, well, whatever. And that is the save system. If you run the game now and click on new game, then exit back to the main menu, you should then be able to click on continue last game and be taken back to the same map as before with all your items still in your inventory and so on. You guys, let's try it. Ha! Oh, I missed one. We got this. We got this. This is an easy fix. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, new game. All right, we have items, so let's pick up all our items. Oh, that's an interesting rendering error. We're now rendering behind items for some reason. Weird. Anyway, point being, we should now be able to fully quit and then come back, continue last game, and here we are with health potions and fireballs, and we had two, yeah. I think that's right. I think that's right. Look at that. We can now save and load games. However, I do not know why we're now standing behind things. I'm going to guess that that is a little bug in Dungeon Generator. That has to do with Z indexes. Interesting. How did saving and loading mess with Z indexes? I don't know. But I don't have time to fix it today. So I'm afraid we're just gonna have to leave it here for today, because I need to get on with my evening, because things are just go, go, go. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I did not get CloudBot working, apparently. Right, so of course that's not gonna work. Oh my god, CloudBot, why? CloudBot, why? I have socials. You can follow me on the socials. I post things sometimes. Probably on Instagram you can see some West Coast Swing videos going up this week if I get around to that. CloudBot, where are ya? And why are you off? That's very foolish. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. I have socials. Oh, I gotta do this quickly because I can't snooze the next ads. They're starting in 5 minutes. Got distracted a lot this time, but nice to have you back. I aim to be just some chill hangout. That is the goal. So I hope everybody had fun. I need to figure out who we're raiding. Who am I following that's in the same category? Satolix? Figure we'll go raid Satolix if nobody's got any objections to that. Looks like they're doing... What are they doing over there? I don't know, but they've got a guitar out. Looks like fun. Some kind of music thing going on. Current task, working on inventory testing scene. Meh. But I think that's what we're gonna go do. So we'll be back on Friday for Dwarf Fortress, and then next Wednesday for more game dev, where we will be moving on to... What's the next part? Oh, more levels. We'll be doing more dungeon levels. Excellent. And maybe like actually a win condition, I hope. That'd be cool. All right. Thanks for hanging out. See you Friday. See you Wednesday. Have a great day. Let's go raid Satolix. Bye, everybody.